My name is Cami, and this is Classics and Cats. Sorry if I sound a little stuffy. I've been fighting off cold, who knows, for a couple of weeks now, and it just won't. I feel fine, but my voice still sounds really congested and weird. It's annoying, but bear with me. So, I'm about to show you some footage that I filmed over the summer. So, this was a long time ago. It's kind of been sitting in an unfinished file, and I wanted to upload it because it is a tour of an author's house, and that author is Jean Stratton Porter. And she has two homes that are available for tours. One is in Geneva, Indiana, and the other one is in Rome City, Indiana. So I think the one in Geneva, Indiana is considered her childhood home, where she grew up with her mother and father and siblings. And then her home in Rome City, Indiana is the home that she built as an adult with her husband. And I think they had their child there. So the one that we went to visit was in Rome City, Indiana. And it's on a lake. It's called Sylvan Lake. And it's a beautiful property that she had built, and I took some video footage and some photographs while I was there, and I just wanted to share with everyone because I just think it's so fascinating, and there's a lot of authors' homes that I'd like to visit, and I have been able to film at a couple different locations, so I want to share those with you guys. But the one that I want to share today is Jean Stratton Porter, so look her up. She's a Hoosier author, so if you're from the Hoosier State, Indiana, you should be familiar with her if you're not already. And if you're not, then give her a look up. She is a very interesting woman. She was definitely a pioneer of her time. She was one of those women that wore pants before women were really supposed to, or, before it was considered, cool. It was more practical and she was going to do it. She liked to go out in the wilderness, and the area that her home is at, the property in Rome City, Indiana, was considered like kind of swampland, a little more wild and rugged. And she liked to go out into the Limberlost Swamp, is what they called it. And she would take photographs of birds, butterflies, moths. She was fascinated by wildlife, and she loved wildlife. And in her home, they actually, if you go for the tour, they'll tell you stories about how she would open up the kitchen windows and, sprinkle bird seed all over the place, and birds would come in the house and eat. And she would have like chrysalises for, butterflies and moths, and, cocoons while they were going through the change and transition. And just, she would sleep with them on the pillow so that she could hear it when they were opening, and she could get photographs. And just a fascinating woman, really. And, at the time, she was one of the most, if not the most famous author of the time. And people would travel across the country to come to her home and kind of like get a glimpse of her, which, was not ideal for her. She was a private person. And a lot of her books were turned into films as well. Most of those are silent films, and I think they've been lost over time, so I'm not even sure if you can get copies of those anymore. But they've done remakes. If you're familiar with A Girl of the Limberlost, that's been made into a film as recent as the 90s, I think. There's an adaptation that you can see. There's also a film called City Boy, which again I think was filmed in the 90s, and that's based on Freckles, the book that she wrote. So those two are ones that you can see film adaptations of that are current, but the original ones that she contributed to, that she was part of the process of making the films, those have been lost in time. So unfortunately, we can't see any of those. But after I'm finished filming this, I'll show you my book collection that I have. I collect Jean Stratton Porter's books. We used to go to her property in Rome City when I was a kid. So growing up, I've been to her home several times. I've been to the one in Geneva a couple times. And hopefully I'll be able to get some film footage there. Maybe I'll go this summer and get film footage of her childhood home. But I have pictures and photos, videos of the property. She had an extensive garden, lots of land, lots of property, and it's just beautiful. That's actually where my husband and I got married this past summer, and it was just absolutely magical. So I hope you all will enjoy seeing a tour of her home. And you'll see a writing desk and her typewriter that she wrote one of her books on, and there's a lounge or like a love seat in front of it where her I think she would sit there and dictate, and she would have a secretary that kind of typed for her. So, it's all very neat. And, she designed the home, which again, I think was probably very unusual for the time. Like, this home is her baby, it's her project. She designed it. She chose, the lumber that they used. She chose the rocks that they used. She designed, the fireplace. She chose a large picture window that looked out to the lake. And it's just fascinating. So if you're interested, look her up, do a little research on her. I have read two of her books so far. I read Laddie, which I think is the most autobiographical one. I could be mistaken, but I believe that one was kind of based off of her brother, which he tragically died at a young age. And I think this book was kind of about his story, but gave him a happy ending, which is really kind of beautiful. So I read that years ago when I was a teenager, so it's been a while. And then I also read Freckles recently, last year, and that one was really good. They're just very sweet, wholesome stories. If you like children's classics like The Secret Garden and A Little Princess and Heidi and all those, wonderful children's classics, I think you would really enjoy Gene Stratton Porter. They have that same very sweet, heartwarming feel. So, without further ado, I will show you some photos or videos of the book collection that I do have from her, and then we will just get on to the footage of the tour. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Take care. Bye. I feel like I should also mention a lot of the books that I do have are ones that were gifted to me by my mom and my dad. Probably my dad, because my dad does most of the like gift shopping. Mom isn't a fan of online shopping, so but she'll find them for me at antique stores. So really, I've gotten them from both of them, which has been wonderful. And like I said, they would take me there as a kid. So I feel like I owe them, the credit for introducing me to Gene Stratton Porter and introducing that part of my life to me. But also, fun fact, which is so interesting. So, like I said, Gene Stratton Porter was kind of, she was famous in the early 1900s. So, a little before my time, before my parents' time, so she's kind of lost, I would say, probably a lot of her, like, fame and just people's awareness of her and her work. So I think it's pretty rare when you find someone else that also knows who Gene Stratton Porter is. Like, we would even go into places in Indiana and say we were looking for this author, and people wouldn't know who we were talking about. They wouldn't, no fault of theirs. Like I said, her time has long passed. But what's so interesting is that when I met my now husband, I think his mom mentioned to me, maybe one of the time or two that I met her, she was talking about this author that she collected books from, and it was Gene Stratton Porter. And I'm like, oh, I know Gene Stratton Porter. I have a lot of her books too. And my husband is just like, this is so random that you two would both know, that my mom's been obsessed with this author, my whole life. And then like, who she's talking about. And even his sister told me she just thought that was the craziest coincidence. So it's wonderful when you like find things in common like that are kind of unique or, obscure, and then you find someone else who knows exactly what you're talking about and loves them as well. And my mother-in-law, we went to, I think I recently posted a video of a bookstore, the Pete and Freddie's Books of Plenty, or Pages of Plenty. I always say Books of Plenty. Pages of Plenty. Over in Mentone, Indiana. My mother-in-law and I were there, and she found a really cool Gene Stratton Porter book that neither one of us had ever heard of before. So yeah, so we've just had our own little bond over it, and like I said, my mom and I, she's the one that introduced me to Stratton Porter, her life and her work and everything, and she's the one that bought us the movies when we were a kid, the film adaptations from the '90s. So I grew up watching those films as well. So I've always felt really in touch and connected with Stratton Porter and her work, and now my husband's family also is familiar, so it's like this whole full circle. And when you meet other people and they already feel like family because they had the same experiences you did or the same history that you did. And that's how I feel with him and his family, so it's just kind of wonderful and special. But anyway, I hope you will enjoy this, and yeah, take care. Bye.